Are you ready to take your business to the top? Well, strap in and hold on tight. You're listening to the Top of the Wall podcast from Red Wall Marketing. Business and marketing strategies to lift you above the competition and over the wall of mediocrity. Now, here's your host, J.R. Griggs.
Hey, welcome to the show, everybody. Today we're talking about a pretty cool topic. It's a topic that any business can use, but I rarely see businesses using this. It's the shock and awe package. And, this could be used in many different ways. Some people use shock and awe packages in direct mail. Some people use it in a sales effort. So it can be used really for both lead generation or, sales. It could even be used as customer retention, but it's really not, I wouldn't really classify it as that. But, a shock and awe package, the idea is to create a package that will blow away a customer, shock and awe them into doing business with you. And you might have heard that term in business. It's not used a lot in business. It's something that typically when I ask a client if they've ever heard of it, they have not. But it is common in some very successful businesses. You probably also heard the term in warfare, shock and awe. It's to surprise, stun the enemy, to knock them off their feet. It's just to, blow them away is literally what we're trying to do. And so with a shock and awe package for business, we are delivering a package in such a way or with such materials that we are blowing away the customer. It can be used in any business. This is one of the things that I've often, talked about with clients, and I get the same thing. That's not going to really work for our business, but it works in every business. Now, the application might be different depending on your business, but the principle works in every business. So whether you are a service industry, retail sales, wholesale, business to business, business to consumer, online sales, it does not matter. A shock and awe package can be used in your business for marketing. And like I said, some people use this for, like I said, direct mail. They'll mail it out and use it as a lead generator. Some will use it as a sales tactic. And some will use it as a, when they come in, they can use it as a sales tactic. Some will use it as a retention to get new customer or get old customers coming back in. So there's a lot of different ways you can use it. But again, the idea is to load up a package with material that will shock and awe the customer into doing business with you. That's what we're basically doing. So let me go over some basics here of what you could include in a shock and awe package. So again, if we're trying to blow them away, what are things we can include? Remember, this is a physical package generally. We're talking about a physical item that you're delivering. It could be in a box or a folder, it could be anything. But we're delivering a package that is shocking and awing the customer into doing business. So we want to include things that will do that. For instance, testimonials are a good thing to have in there. You could load it up with some testimonials, handwritten copies of letters, things like that, screenshots from online testimonials, anything to make it look as good as possible. And then we can have credibility items. If you've been quoted in the news or magazines or anything like that, you can load it up with those, and that's going to add credibility and shock the customer. Wow, look at this! They were featured in the local news station. Here's an article with the owner. And you can usually, a lot of magazines will let you buy those. If you've ever been in a magazine, they'll let you buy like tear-off sheets right from them, or you could create your own. Same with news articles. If you're in there, you could create your own copies of it and have those on hand. You can include any specs or anything that's important to the customer about your business, product, or service. Any technical data that might be able to fit in there and simplify your process. You could put in some free reports that are really helpful to a customer. And you can also include a lot of branding gifts, little gifts, flashlights, keychains, mugs, coasters, a t-shirt, whatever. You could put all those things in there. And so that's to give you a general idea of what might go into one. And then that's going to all make more sense when we look at some examples. Okay, so we're trying to blow away a customer's expectations and shock and awe them into doing business, right? And I just ran through a quick list here that I've got of a few items that you could put in there. But now let's look at some specifics on how you can use the shock and awe package, okay? And this will help you really tie in together why you would even do this, or what, area of your business you can use this. So a good example that I've personally used this with and have seen it with is service area stuff. Now again, this will work for any business, service, online, retail, whatever, but I'm just going to start with covering some service industries where they were able to successfully do this. Now, one is with a client that I was working with that does service work on the home. So it's like a construction remodeling service, right? Well, what we did was we took their estimate process when the salesman goes out. The typical process, their process at the time, was to drop off they go out, they take their measurements, they price out the material, find out everything the customer wants, and then they write up an estimate. Now, the way that would work is generally it was on some carbon paper. There was like 3 copies. The customer got one, the salesman got one, and one was turned into the office, right? So that was generally how it went down. So when you left, the customer was left with your business card and a copy of the estimate, okay? So this is like industry standard. Like everybody that went out to the house, that's what they were leaving, is a carbon copy and a business card, maybe a brochure, right? So every single bid they were getting. And on average in the service industry, you'll start to notice that, they're generally getting 2 to 3 quotes minimum before making a decision. That's minimum. I mean, if there's more of your competitors in the area, that number is probably quite a bit higher. So you're leaving, and your initial, unless your salesman's got great personality or great price, your initial contact is pretty much the same as everybody else's, right? Well, so what we did was redesigned their estimate process to include a shock and awe package. So instead of the salesman leaving a carbon copy estimate with a business card, what they were leaving now, after we were done, was a folder with the company logo on it. And that already steps up the game, because it was very rare in our research that anybody would leave anything more than that carbon copy. But inside the folder, when you opened it up, were testimonials, in many cases photocopied or screenshotted right from the internet. Because if it was on Yelp, for instance, we just took a screenshot of Yelp. That way they noticed, hey, this is right from online. It just added that little bit more credibility, right? So that's often an objection or a request you might get from a customer, right? Is, do you have any testimonials? What have other people heard from you? And reviews are huge. Well, instead of making them do the research, we provided it right there for them. The next thing we did was we put some clippings from some news articles that had featured the business. So there were different news articles that were done, some advice that the owner had chimed in on, and some news media where they were looking for expert opinions on something that was going on. So they were featured in there. There was a feature done on them by the local news station about their service and what they do and how unique it is to the area. And so that was in there. So now we've got some credibility items, because now we've got local media reports that feature the business, right? We also included a free report in there. And this free report, basically, it was designed to teach the homeowner some of the basics about the industry and the process. And it was done in such a way that it included some warnings and some, hey, here's some stories of where this can go wrong. And the general idea of the free report was that it made this business look, really, really good. So all these problems that were in the free report, it was pointed out that the business, they wouldn't have those issues. So, for instance, there was a story about a lawsuit that went down where a homeowner lost a lawsuit. So the story was that there was a lawn care company who had a customer. Well, one of the employees left the business and started trying to steal his boss's customers. I guess they didn't have a non-compete or whatever, and So he went out and started his own lawn service company, started stealing customers. Well, he wasn't licensed or insured. Ended up getting hurt mowing a lawn for one of those customers, sued the homeowner and won because he was not insured. There was no, there was nothing. It was the homeowner's negligence that, they were hiring somebody that wasn't insured. So when they got hurt, it was the homeowner ended up being liable. So we put in that story and we talked about how it's very important that you're hiring companies that are insured. By the way, here's our license number. You can look it up on this website. It's active, and here's our liability coverage and everything else. So if we were to get hurt or do any damage or anything like that, we are 100% covered. So again, it puts that doubt in the homeowner's mind, but answers their concern by letting them know that this particular company is. Now, all the companies, let's say they got 3 estimates, right? All 3 companies might be insured, but we're the only one who told them and showed them and gave them a reason to be concerned if they weren't. So it's like, licenses and insurances, all 3 companies might have that, but we're the ones that showed them. So now the doubt's in there. Well, shoot, are these other 2 companies insured? Nothing here says that. The estimate doesn't say it. The card doesn't say it. I don't know. And I don't know if I feel like calling them because maybe they'll give me the runaround. So we start putting little doubts in the customer's head about the other businesses by just informing them. By making an informed customer and making sure they know that we've got all the best stuff, we stand out, we're able to overcome some objections, right? So, and if you have any other objections in your industry that the customer might have, you can answer those in that free report. Okay, so licensed and insured, that's a big deal. Put a copy of your license certificate, right? Another thing is warranty, right? It's one thing to say warranty. It's another thing to have a certificate for warranty. And this particular client, we created certificates for their warranties. So instead of saying just their warranty, they get an actual printed certificate when the job's done. Well, in the shock and awe package, we included a copy of what one of those certificates looks like so that they knew this is what you get at the completion of your job. It is an in-writing, signed guarantee, warranty on your service. So we included that in there. On top of all these things, okay, so we've got credibility. We put some spec sheets in there so they knew what to expect from the product, a little bit about the durability of everything and the type of service that they offer and the why when they install it, it's the best. And then we added in some branding gifts, some little, like a pen. I believe there was a keychain and a coaster in there. There was a couple little gift items for them in this little kit. So now, you might be thinking, what I hear from a lot of objections is, well, shoot, how much is all that going to cost me? Not a whole lot. You can really put together that kind of a package. I mean, for one, most of what we just went over was paper and a folder. And you can get those folders for pennies when you order them in bulk. You get them printed and you're paying less than $1 each. And then the paper is just paper. You're just putting a lot of paper in there, testimonials and your insurance certificate and all that stuff. The only thing that was actually of any expense, and that still wasn't that bad. I mean, a coaster and a keychain and a pen, still you're talking dollars. So let's say it was I don't know. If I had to guess, I would say $8 tops is what they were putting into this thing. If I'm adding it up all correctly, so $8 tops, right? And again, while we do X amount of, warranties, so that $8 is really going to add up and, that's just, too much money or whatever it is. And it was probably less. My brain's really headed more towards the $5 range is where I think we got it. But anyway, it depends on where you're going to get your products and all that. But the idea is that this was a high ticket sale. This wasn't a cheap sale. This was thousands of dollars worth of money. Okay. And when we did the math, we sat and looked at the math and just said, hey, how much of a percentage of increase in sales would we need to make this package pay for itself? And it was so minor. I mean, it worked out to be, like a sale, a sale every few months extra. It was ridiculous. It really wouldn't take a lot of extra sales to make this pay off. But what happened is that the closing rates began to go up simply because of this shock and awe. The only thing we really changed was we were giving the customer this enormous package, and originally it wasn't even enormous. It was a folder and some goodies, a little bag of some goodies. I mean, so cheap to put together. But we stood out from everybody else. It looked like the premium product. It looked like the premium service, and it looked like the company that had all the answers. And so, the sales went up and more than covered the cost of the package. I mean, blew it away, increased business. And then, of course, remember, lifetime value of a customer. They're going to come in and want more work later on. They're going to refer friends. They're going to refer family. Enormous sales booster by just making a better estimate presentation with a shock and awe package. Now, any service, just about any service. I've seen this for photography. I've seen this for kitchen cabinets and flooring, home remodeling. I've seen this for painting. It doesn't matter. In a service business, you can easily use these shock and awe packages. I've seen it and used it for consulting. So you can do something like that. There's all kinds of ways that you can use this idea to increase sales. And again, the idea in this case, that this example, is to take your sales closing ratio and turn it up. We're trying to go from a 20% closing ratio to a 30% closing ratio. And if you did the math on that, what would that do for your business? If you can go from 20 to 30% in sales, 10% increase in sales, that would be probably in most cases a pretty darn good bump in revenues and more than cover the tiny expense of this little shock and awe package. And that's a tiny kit right there. That's nothing even too big. I've seen a photography one where it was a direct mail presentation. It was a shock and awe package in direct mail. So they mailed it out in this little lunch can with the logo on it, and inside there, I believe, was some coffee, some tea, a coaster, some other goodies. I think there was a little can of soda in there. There was there was an order form, by the way, for a T-shirt. So they would have to fill it out. It was a free T-shirt, shipping and everything was included. You just fill out the card and mail it back, put in the size that you want, and they ship you out a T-shirt. So it was increasing communication between that new customer. So if they wanted a T-shirt, they just fill out the card, send it in, and they'd get a T-shirt in a few weeks. And this opened up the chance for them to call in and talk to them. And again, what was the expense of that? Well, if you don't count the T-shirt in the initial package, I mean, again, a tin lunchbox, little bag of tea, there was a little tiny can of Coke or something like that. It was a little tiny thing. There was just various little things in there, some business cards, brochure, other materials. All of that was in there. And again, in their case, this is high-end photography, big deals. So if you're sending out a campaign like that and it cost you $10 per pail or $15 per pail, whatever, let's say it was $20 with shipping, and your average profit's $1,000 or $2,000, you don't need a lot of response to make that worthwhile. But again, the idea is to not just offer some simple letter, some simple sales letter, some simple advertisement. It's to shock and awe the customer. We've put these together for lawyers, where a lawyer, interestingly, a lawyer can't do a lot in the state of Florida with sending out information. But once a customer asks for information, basic advertising principles, and ethics apply. So we were able to create a system where if somebody came in for a free consultation, we put together a nice shock and awe package with testimonials, which in Florida, lawyers are not allowed to use testimonials. However, if a customer comes to you first, you can use testimonials. You can hand them to them. So we created a shock and awe package. Again, some branding materials, testimonials, some free reports and helpful things for the client. And the idea was to take the free consultations that they were doing and turn them into more paying clients. And that worked simply because nobody else was doing it. Nobody else in the market was doing it. You come in, you shake a hand, you get a business card, you leave. But if we can shock and awe them into doing business with you and thinking that you're the lawyer for them with some case studies and some testimonials and other stuff that most lawyers aren't doing because they don't understand the rule, we were able to blow away the customer expectations. So again, if you're retail, if you're a retail business, of course, it's probably not going to be worth it in some cases to have to go through this process. However, if you're a retail business that has a repetitive purchase, would you not see sending out a nice kit to recent move-ins into the neighborhood to introduce them to your store? by offering some coupons and some other goodies. Just off the top of my head, Donut Shop, you could send out a free coupon for a donut and a cup of coffee and include with it a keychain or a pen or a offer for a free t-shirt. So, hey, welcome to the neighborhood. Here's some information about us. You've got some testimonials in there. You've got some basic information about your foods, maybe some gluten-free, whatever you might have that might interest people. And again, because we're answering objections, right? So you may have some gluten-free offerings or other things that might be valuable to a new move-in who you don't know what their likes and dislikes are, but you include in there an offer. Stop in, bring in this coupon. You get your first coffee and a donut on us. And by the way, we'll let you have one of our t-shirts. Now, if you do it right, you can get t-shirts for $5, right? And it's only going to be the people that take you up on this offer. But there is a shock and awe package. Right there. You shocked and awed at the customer. Holy crap, we just moved into this neighborhood and we've got a free coffee and a donut and I get a free t-shirt. Let's go check this place out. Okay, and the idea is that your $5 investment, or let's say it's $7 or $8 to do that, because you've got the cost of the t-shirt and the printing, and then you've got the cost of the product you're giving them, which of course it's high margin in that case, so it's not going to cost you a ton. You might have a customer for life. You do the averages, you're going to increase business. So no matter what local business, just think about your business. How can you do this? So in that case, it might be a direct mail. You're not going to hand every new customer that comes into your store a free coffee and a t-shirt. You'll have a line out the door of people coming in and saying they've never been there before for a free t-shirt. So you've got to be smart with this. Using it as a way to get new customers, new move-ins, things like that, that's perfect. Using it to target a business, by the way, for catering. So let's say you're a local restaurant that does catering. You can send a shock and awe package to a local business who might, use you for meetings or, other things like that. So there's a way that you can do that. There was, when I sold cars back in the day, we used to have people, like a new restaurant would come in town and they would drop off free food on a Saturday. They would drop off free food to let us salesmen know about their place. And then they gave us a bunch of coupons. Well, guess where we were going all week? To the new restaurant that gave us a bunch of coupons. And so salesmen are notorious for just eating out. Your day is so packed. Sometimes you're eating, whenever you can. And so we would frequently visit. There was a shopping center nearby. We would go to some of those restaurants, and they would come by and offer all kinds of stuff to us in a shock and awe type of way, because they brought free food. There's some shock and awe. Here, try these wings. So it does work in just about any business. Think about it doesn't matter if you're a coffee shop or whatever you are, service business. Online, again, you could use this to go after your target market, find big purchasers who would make sense to target in this way. Again, there's got to be a good enough return on the investment. So if you're an online business, maybe you do something that's not so high margin, but it would be high margin if you can get a big volume purchaser. So who are the big volume purchasers in your industry that you could go target with a shock and awe package and load it up with some crazy branding materials and answer objections, give them some gifts, and use this kind of as a direct mail piece. And you send it out to these big purchasers and try to get them to switch over to your business by, again, shocking them into doing business with you. So and that's why it can be used in any business. Now, some will use this as a thank you too. You make a purchase and they send this shock and awe package out to you, and the idea in that case is to keep you as a customer, to get you to refer others. There was a midwife that I advised. We did a home birth with our last child, and I was talking with the midwife and offering some advice, and there was a lot of stuff that we had to buy coming up to we got a list basically of all this stuff we had to buy for the house, and it was kind of confusing a little bit. I had to go to a couple different stores to get everything, and I wasn't totally sure if I was getting the right things at times. There was like these different gauze pads and other things you had to get, and so there's certain things you had to have in your house that the midwife did not bring, and the expense wasn't that much. I mean, it really wasn't a lot of money for this this kit that we needed. However, when I talked to the midwife, I said, something you might want to test, because she was asking for marketing advice, is including that. So you can show it to customers as they're thinking about using you. By the way, when you sign up, here's this kit you get. It includes everything. You don't have to worry about anything. And then you can include some branded items like a towel or other things that are branded with your name, a t-shirt. You can include those things in there. But let's say it was like $50 to buy everything. And if you bought it all in bulk, I'm sure that a midwife could get that cheaper, especially buying it online. They know what they're looking for. You get that price down. I mean, my gosh, you could, if it really was a concern, you could raise price by $50 and it wouldn't matter. And I'll tell you why, because people will spend more money when they're shocked and awed into doing business with you. They will spend more money. It is not uncommon to have you be not the cheapest, but because of how you wowed them in the process, they're willing to spend more money with you. So raise the price by $50 and include that kit for them, because I'll tell you what, that was a little bit of a pain for us, a little bit of a hassle to go out and get everything. She could have removed that hassle from us by providing it, and did it in a way that it was branded with all of her stuff so that it's in our house. It's being used. It's a coffee mug that's being used by us, and we're talking to friends about it, and we're sharing it with other people and spreading her business message. So again, even in a midwife home birth setting, a shock and awe package works. Again, the idea is to shock in all the customers. So think about your business. I don't want to go too much further here because we're already at 25 minutes or so here, but think about your business. If you're doing estimates on a constant basis, and a shock and awe package is a no-brainer. It's easy to put together, and start with the simplest stuff, okay? You don't want to go full on in with all the branding items. Start with simple stuff. Start including just a folder with some testimonials and some credibility items in there, okay? Some free report, put your license in there, copy of warranty, put some testimonials in there, put some basics in there. Start with that. Monitor your sales, okay? First of all, you need to know how well your sales are doing now. That you need to know that anyway. And then compare it with the shock and awe package to see, okay, how much have sales gone up since we started using this? If you're a retail business, try it out with some mailings. If you're doing any mailings now, I really hope you are, because there are ways to do direct mail directly that will have a nice return for you. Put together a better package that includes a little bit more. How are you shocking this customer into doing business with you? If you're doing a service business, where you might be able to do it as a thank you. Or if you're an online business and you've got some big purchasers you can target, somebody that would be worth a lot of money to you over the long term because they buy in bulk or buy repetitively, try targeting them with a shock and awe package and see how the results work. So again, any business, doesn't matter, you can use it. Give it a try, and of course, email us with any stories. If you try this out and it works really good for your business, I'd love to hear about it. Head over to redwallmarketing.com. Just go to the contact page and email us. And if you're having any struggles with developing a shock and awe package, or really confused, again, send us a message. We'll try to answer what we can in email to clear up anything, or maybe come up with some ideas for you in your business on how you could use it as well. So hope you enjoyed the show. Hope you're able to use that advice and start shock and awing your customers into doing business with you and sticking around longer and telling their family and friends about you. That's the most important thing. We'll see you on the next episode. Start shocking people.
Thanks for listening to the Top of the Wall podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a review and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the great episodes coming up for you. For more resources and tools to take your business to the top, visit redwallmarketing.com.